Nairobi, back in Johannesburg, Metrofile has reported a 17% increase in full-year headline earnings per share to 25.5 cents. And joining us now to unpack the numbers further is company CEO Graham Wackrill. Graham, revenue 13%, headline earnings up 17%. I always say if the earnings are up more than the revenue, you must be doing something right. So give us a picture there of that, and just to give people an idea of the ballpark, revenue up to 590 million and the headline earnings up to 25 cents.
Yeah, I think, morning David, I think generally it was a reasonable year. Obviously the economy is not the best, but our records management division, which is the biggest part of Metrofile, had double-digit growth in all of its sectors, so that's been great. We had one or two divisions that didn't perform. We know the reasons why. There's been issues around them which we've addressed.
What sorts of issues?
Well, the one company, CSX, the one division, had some issues with government tenders which were delayed, which have now come through. So their results, obviously, for the next period will be better. From a rainbow paper point of view, the world pulp paper price had decreased. Their volumes have increased over the past 5 years, but the pulp price has decreased. We're also seeing an upward trend in that now, so they will also have good results. And then the last was a company we bought out of business rescue last year, Global Continuity, and we've had some issues there which we needed to address with management and structure, which has been done, and we believe in 2014 we'll be profitable there. So those were the downside, but the Metrofile records management performed well.
You mentioned the economic circumstances. How does it affect a business like yours? Because I would think some of the storage, I mean, basically, I remember saying to you before, it's probably the most boring company in the world.
Yeah,
it's not boring if it makes money for you, though.
Yeah.
But what it is, I mean, the essential heart of it is taking paper and storing it for people. You've got to be trusted to keep it, look after it, and so on.
Correct.
Now, a lot of that would presumably be where people have to do it. They have no choice. They must store documents.
Yeah.
That's not vulnerable to economic conditions.
I think that sector of our business has been fine because everybody has to store records, and I think records and management thereof is becoming more important in terms of compliance and all those things around that. But the other divisions where people have sort of discretionary spend, in the CSX division, when you're buying capital equipment, you're impacted by the exchange rate, you're impacted by people not sort of getting orders through and tenders through. From a rainbow paper point of view, the market has been saturated with paper, with pulp, and those things impacted the business. But the records management, I agree with you, everybody has to store records, have to manage them for compliance. So.
Also, you offer a shredding service, so if people don't want to keep their paper, but confidential documents and so on, you offer that service. Now, presumably that's also not vulnerable to
no,
economic
that actually has seen a nice growth this past year because I think people are understanding that you cannot have records that have certain information floating around generally. So it's very big in the States and Europe, and we are seeing tremendous growth with clear data because people, particularly banks, insurance, all the big sort of companies that have a lot of information are shredding their information now, and it's becoming a very important part of their business process.
Is there a market in shredding? If so, how much do you have of it? And for that matter,
I think clear data has definitely got a big share, probably the majority share in South Africa because we are represented around the country in terms of confidential shredding. There's a lot of people who do waste disposal,
rubbish shredding,
rubbish, that type of stuff. But this is particularly confidential shredding, and we've got a good share of that market.
What about the Africa opportunity? And I think for a company like yours, people say that in some sectors, South African companies going into the rest of Africa, there are opportunities there because the market hasn't either demanded that kind of service yet or is still at a very low level. Presumably there's huge potential.
There's huge potential. I think that is why the reason we went into Nigeria. The markets will know we've had a long sort of spell there. It's probably taken 5 years. We're now open. We've got a warehouse which is getting modified to our standards. And the Nigerian market is immature as far as records management. Everybody stores their own records, but they're not managed properly. And we see great potential there. And from Nigeria, we see it going into other African countries. We're getting calls on a weekly basis from all of the big sort of business type countries, the East Coast, the west side of Africa, where people are wanting proper records management. They're not just prepared to store it in their own
Of course,
premises.
implicit in this is trust. You know, anyone can store it, so they must feel it's not like the doctor. I mean, I can't diagnose myself, so I need an expert. I might feel though that I can store my paper. I don't need you to help me. So they've got to trust you that you can do it better than they can, that it's safe, that it's there forever, and so on, that it won't mold and rot or catch fire. Now, going in there, you don't have a brand name there. How do you establish that trust?
I think the brand name comes from South Africa, because what we've done is we've targeted South African companies that have gone into Africa. From the banking groups, from the retail groups, they understand Metrofile, and it is a hell of a lot easier for them to put forward the name Metrofile in Lagos or somewhere else, because they are using us here in South Africa. And you'd be surprised, the people in the business community know about Metrofile. From a records management point of view, we're up there in the top 10 in the world. So if they want to do things properly, they know about Metrofile, and they know the South African companies are coming into their environments.
What about the cloud? I still don't fully understand it, but certainly works for me with something like Gmail. You know, it's all stored up there or down there, wherever the cloud is. Is that a threat to your business or an opportunity?
No, it's not a threat. We've embraced it. We have certain of our clients that we store their information already in the cloud. But there are certain things around the cloud where people are worried about where that information is and who is the ultimate caretaker.
Are they right to worry?
Yeah, I think personally you've got to understand where your information is going. Metrofile is not playing in that space in a big way. We intend to going forward, and this was one of the reasons we bought Global Continuity. But at the moment, we're only storing some of our major clients' information where they can access it from the internet immediately.
But you also want to have digital storage, so it's not just paper. So your core business is not storing paper, it's storing.
It's records management, and that consists of hard copy, digital, microfilm, all those type of medium is the biggest part of our business, probably 70-75%.
But again, on the IT side, you would have the IT specialist in a particular company saying, no, I can do all that. You don't have to worry about that. What are you offering?
What we're offering then is to do the storage and the management of those backup tapes, those backup hard drives. We take them off-site, we store them in a safe environment, temperature and humidity controlled, and we deliver it back to them when they need it.
Well, that is Graham Wackrill, CEO of Metrofile. I said jokingly that it sounds like a boring company. In fact, it's an extraordinarily interesting company, and all companies depend on information and the storage of that information, so it's performing a vital service. Well, we're heading into a short break now. More Open Exchange right after this.